All right, all right, all right, all right. Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. Hopefully, everybody is good and well. Hopefully, your week has been good. The weekend is near, so hopefully that gets better as well. So, it's Mr. Al Pete, president of the Northeast Florida chapter of the NABJ, National Association of Black Journalists. Thank you so much. If you're on live now, we greatly appreciate you. If you're watching the replay, we appreciate you as well. So with that being said, a couple of announcements. Please make sure that you go follow the Northeast Florida NABJ on Facebook and on YouTube and on our Instagram. All right. So it's NEFL NABJ on Instagram, and make sure you go to Northeast Florida NABJ on YouTube as well as Facebook. Make sure you give us a like so you can follow us for updates. You can actually sign up to get the newsletters every week. Every week on Wednesday, they come out. So please make sure you sign up for those. We got news and information. We try to make sure that we give out the news and be supportive of the people surrounding the communications and media area. So, yeah. So, Present Prosperity, this is another round of it. Again, thank you so much for tuning in. We have a special guest. This lady, I definitely respect her work. Been following her for a minute. She's definitely like in tune with the work that she does. Very intentional, very purposeful, and we're going to have a good conversation about it. Me personally, she's an author, so I want to talk about the author aspect when it comes to the communications and media. I'll throw my little stuff in, but hopefully you are enlightened about this conversation. So let me get the bio and read it to you. So Miss Nikesha Elise Williams is a two-time Emmy Award-winning producer, an award-winning author and producer and host of Black and Polished podcast. A narrative strategist by day and journalist always. Her work has appeared in Washington Post, Essence, and Voice. And she is a DeGroot Foundation writer of note grantee, and she's a Chicago native, but lives in Florida with her family. So listen, Nikesha, let's bring her on real quick. There we go. 1, 2, 1, 2. Round of applause, everybody, for Miss Nikesha. Hi, ma'am. How are you?
Hey, I'm good.
Listen, first off, thank you. I said it a million times via Instagram, emails before we got on, and now I'm saying thank you in public. So thank you so much for taking your time to be here for this. Yeah, how you feeling?
I'm good. I feel good. I'm home. I just finished a pre-publication tour Sunday night, so I got back real late Sunday, and so I'm glad to be like stationary for a while. So I'm good.
Listen, I understand. I'm on my award tour as well. I got a couple of trips, and I'm like, the airplane is not fun. It's funny because I be seeing your threads too. You talk about when you be on the planes and stuff. It be. I felt like that the other day, so I understood completely. I was actually on the plane the last time you mentioned it, and I was just like, "Ooh, I understand completely what you're saying. This is ridiculous, but God give us strength." So,
yeah.
All right, so let's get into it. I want to jump into the author aspect of it. Well-respected author, right? So, this is a personal question, but like, when we think about communications and media, the author aspect of it, to me, isn't mentioned much or referenced much. It's like, you have your journalism, your broadcast journalism, digital production, marketing, PR, but the author aspect, I feel like, doesn't get too much light. And then when the author does come around, that's when we get the highlight or whatever. Do you feel that that's the case, or like, what's your thoughts on that?
I think that that's the case for sure. I think there are, first of all, I'll differentiate between like being a writer and being an author, because like the author is the front facing profession of the work of a writer. And so I'll leave that distinction there for a moment. But when I think about what it takes to become a writer, many people don't understand what that path is because, one, there's no one path. Like, you like to write. And so then people were like, okay, that's great that you like to write, but what are you going to do? And so when you get to the what are you going to do part of it, some people then, like I did, it's like, well, I like to write. I'll go into journalism, because if you go into print, you're still writing. If you go into broadcasts and you're producing or anything like that, you're behind the scenes, you're writing scripts or stuff like that, or you're reporting. You're still telling stories, and so that's what usually is the love is for a writer, is to tell a story. And so, but navigating how to become a professional writer and then to publish a book and become an author where now you have a product, that's a very different path. And for some people, it does come directly out of journalism. Some people extrapolate what they do as a journalist, whether it's print or broadcast or digital at this point, into book form. And it could be a nonfiction book or a memoir, or they're reporting on some subject, or it can be like something to help promote their brand, like a memoir. But as far as what I do, and I consider myself a fiction writer, a novelist first, that's really about craft and artistic license and literary scholarship. And I don't mean scholarship in like a very erudite way where you have to go to get an MFA or a PhD in English lit. Like, you can if you want, or anything like that. But I mean it in a way where like you enjoy books, you enjoy the medium of a novel or a book, you enjoy the craft of a story and what goes into that. And so then you try your hand at it. And so for me, as I was working as a journalist, and I still do work as a journalist in a different capacity these days, I am always writing and creating on the side.
I got you. I follow. So what got you into the author part? I mean, I would assume, the journalist path, the communications path, but what was that thing that light bulb came on where you was like, I need to start focusing more on the novel side or on the writing side?
So again, like throughout my journalism career, I've always had like some side writing project, whether it was nonfiction or fiction. What made me start writing my debut novel, which was my very first self-published novel for women, was honestly, it was the murder of Trayvon Martin. And so that was in 2012. I was here in Jacksonville. I was working at First Coast News. For those who don't know or don't remember, because of all the controversy around their case, because of the delay in the arrest of George Zimmerman, Angela Corey, who was then the state's attorney in Jacksonville, was appointed as a special prosecutor over that case, which brought Jacksonville really into the mix about, well, who is this prosecutor that's going to prosecute this case down in Sanford? And so I remember covering the story, covering the trial, having Angela Corey come into the station and doing an interview with her and having to produce those segments when Joy Purdy still worked at First Coast News and Phil Amato still worked at First Coast News, and having to do all of that work. And I remember thinking about it a lot. And then, months later, like Trayvon was murdered in February. Jordan Davis was murdered that same year in November by Michael Dunn. And seeing that, and those stories kind of stuck with me. But I'm always asking, where are Black women in story, in media, in life? And so as I started to like just absorb those stories and the emotions behind them, I came up with eventually what became the frame of my debut novel for women. And I wanted to write a story that was examining stand your ground, but also examining intimate partner violence, also examining addiction and interpersonal relationships and even ambition, and how all of those different things can play a part in the choices that women make and affect their lives in ways that they may or may not intend, and using the frame of like a trial or like a suspense or suspense novel, and setting the novel between the two trials of Michael Dunn in 2014. And then that's what really propelled me to write the novel.
Lovely. So you answered one of my questions. I was going to ask about the how do you balance the truth with the truth and creativity when it comes to your form of storytelling, but you answered that. So
well, no, I'll expand a little bit. So like I like reading nonfiction, and I like reading people's memoirs because I'm nosy and I want to be all in their business. But I don't think I personally want to write myself a memoir. I may eat these words later, but like that's not something that I'm looking forward to or is like on my bingo card. What I really enjoy about the novel and about fiction specifically is that you can put so much truth in a story that is completely made up that people are absorbing it by accident almost. So like you can put the real emotionality and the interiority of what you're feeling as a person or even what you're going through in your life into a character that is nothing like you for the most part and let that live in them and people will then absorb that truth even though it's through the vehicle of a story which makes it easier to digest.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Okay, cool. So you wouldn't necessarily, well, you said you like being in people's business, but I guess we can word it in where we're saying like information is important to whatever setting is in place, correct?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, so let's dive into, since we're on the book talk. You have a new book that's out. It's back there looking very lovely in the background. The Seven Daughters of Dupree. Please let us know what this book is. First off, January 2026, people. Please make sure.
27th.
Oh, 27th. Okay. So please make sure you can pre-order, correct?
Yes, January
Okay.
27th, 2026. It is available for pre-order now. And you might be able to get one for free on Goodreads if you sign up for the giveaway.
All right. Let us know what this book is about. What makes it special. Been watching your journey in regards to that on Instagram. Like I want to say I saw the video where you kind of revealed the cover and stuff like that. So tell us about the book. What should we expect?
Okay, so The Seven Daughters of Dupree is the story of the secrets that are kept between mothers and daughters over the course of 7 generations. And it's told backwards in time from 1995 to 1860. The novel opens in 1995 on the south side of Chicago, which is where I'm from, with 14-year-old Tatiana Washington. And it's her birthday. And before she can go out and celebrate with her family and friends, she has to go down in the basement where her mother, Nadia, who is a beautician, is doing a client's hair. And that client for the day is her grandmother, Gladys. And Gladys comes over to the house every Sunday morning to get her hair done before church. And so you would think that down in this basement with these 3 generations of grown women and a teenager, that Gladys and Nadia would be passing down like, wisdom to Tati and words of encouragement. But that's not happening because they're keeping a secret from her. And Tati's very angry about it. She wants to know the identity of her father and they refuse to tell her. And so that is the first secret in this line of women that extends all the way back to 1860 in the fictional town of Land's End, Alabama, where the first in their line lived. But they don't know anything about this ancestor. They don't know her name. They don't know where she's from. They only know the legend of how she died. And that legend is the very first line of the book. So it's not a spoiler. It's in the prologue. And it says, they cut off her head because she ran. And so that line is very brutal and very gruesome and harkens to the horrors of slavery. And so through this novel, as you journey with Tati to, yes, uncover the identity of her father, you're also uncovering the secrets that the secrets of every generation before her, all the way back to that enslaved ancestor. And so what I was doing with this novel, which is considered historical fiction, is that for every daughter that there's a secret being kept from, that secret is really a turning point in her mother's life, a point in her life where she had to make a choice about how she was going to live, how she was going to survive, how she was going to thrive after something either happened to her or something else happened that was no fault, that was by her own choice, and she had to make another decision. And so in thinking about those turning points and those secrets, I'm also then exploring between the relationships between mothers and daughters and in that matrilineal line. What do mothers owe their daughters? Do they owe them an explanation? Do they owe laying themselves bare and, exposing the worst moment in their lives for scrutiny? And then as a daughter, do you owe your mother grace? Do you owe her understanding as you are trying to do better in your life? And so as the story develops, you see that every generation is trying to do better than the one before, but sometimes they fall short. And at the end of the novel, what I hope people take away from it is that as you are working to heal and repair your lineage and your legacy, that you begin to ask your parents and your forebears and even your ancestors, if you do ancestor veneration, what it is that still needs to be uncovered and brought to light.
Yeah. Listen, so I'm just listening to you talk. And this intellectual, like, you're all right, intellectual, intentional, prolific, unapologetic. Like, these are the like the words that come up when I watch your work, when I see you speak, specifically when you're like First Coast Connect. Like, when you on there, I'm like, all right, let me see what she gonna say. Like, let me see, because I love it, because I know for me, and I asked this question a little bit later, but like, you're so intentional. It's like, people can read it for enjoyment, but at the same time too, like how do you get this, like, the creativity and then like the prolific side to just, it meshes very well. Like, that can be hard for people to do. Like, and I'll say this: it's creative versus admin side, right? This is my philosophy. Like, you have a creative side, and you have an admin side. And for the most part, sometimes those things don't mesh very well. It's always the creative side don't understand the admin side. Likewise, but there are a few people that I come across that have that great balance of it, and so you definitely have like that great balance of like the intentionality, versus like the creative spin. To be able to digest it very well. I mean, hell, you got me wanting to call, some family members and be like, hey, let's talk this through and see what's going on. And I haven't even read the novel. So how do you, like, what's the trick? What's the trick of keeping those two together?
There's no trick. I often say it's more crazy than trick. I think from my work as a television producer specifically, that translates into my writing, in that when I'm writing a novel, I generally see the scenes of the novel in my mind, but as I'm writing, and so then I'm trying to, as a lot of authors will say, it's like a movie in my head. And so I'm trying to capture what I'm seeing in my mind's eye on the page. But I also have this thing, and I've had it since I was a child, honestly, where when I'm writing, I usually don't start writing until I can speak the words. Like, where it's coming so quick, I could say it out loud to you. So now I have to go sit down and capture it. That's the creative part of it. That's one part of it. The other part of it is being open. And so I may start with a specific idea for a novel, but I leave myself open to the spirit of God, the spirit of creativity, whatever you want to call it, to be infiltrated, to let the story be whatever it needs to be. And so sometimes there are things that happen that were not in my plan, but I follow it and it makes the story the better for it. And so that happened a lot in the creation of the Seven Daughters of Dupree. As far as balancing that with the admin side or the business of what it is that I do, I think that comes from my time in television, where, I'm a producer. TV starts at the same time every day, whether you're ready for that show or not, right? So
Absolutely.
that timing and planning and preparing a show on air taught me discipline in some ways, that I have translated into other ways, as a writer. I started off, as I said, self-publishing. So I self-published 5 novels and 1 poetry collection myself. That means I started my own imprint and was running it as a business. So I had to stay on top of everything that I spent, everything that I was doing, all the events where I was, going somewhere and either speaking or presenting or just being there at the book festival trying to hand sell my book to whoever walked by. In that time, I had also, once people found out that I was self-publishing, I had authors who asked me if I could publish them. And so then through my imprint, I published 7 or 8 other authors besides myself. So then now I'm staying on top of their books and their deadlines and their contracts and their royalties, and making sure that they have no complaints, because I want to publish everything that I put my name on. I want to do it with excellence. Like, I don't want to put my name on anything that's gonna be looking trash. Like, so
Right.
that makes me, I always call it vanity, but like, that's just business. Like, I'm not going to put anything out into the public sphere that I can't stand behind or that I can't co-sign, whether it's my work or that of someone else's who's going through my company. So managing that has always been part of who I am. And so now, as I've moved into this new phase of being an author and writing, where I have a major publisher, I have a team, a true team of people who are doing things for me that I don't have to do. I still have to make sure that things are right, because at the end of the day, no one is going to see the team behind me. They're going to see me. And so I need to show up correctly every time I show up somewhere. So that's how I try to balance it. So there are days where, like, yes, I am on tour and I might be tired and my plane might have been delayed and I didn't have enough time to do what I need to do. But when I show up at the event, you don't need to know all that. Like, that's not your business. That's just what happened in the background.
We're
right?
showing out. We're showing out. You coming in and you showing, yeah.
I come in to do a job, to present a face or a persona to you, so to speak. And then when I come back home and I have to go through my business stuff and I have to take a day to go through my receipts and to go through my emails and to go through my accounts and make sure that everything is accounted for, I do that too.
Indeed. And this will be in our fun section, but that fashion action, because that video you posted yesterday, I was like, she is showing up and showing out, man. Let me tell you, that style you got is chef's kiss. But yeah, we'll get to that part later. Yeah. So going towards the admin side, the narrative strategist, I want to talk about that a little bit. And do a real quick reset to my people that's watching. If you got any questions, comments, please feel free to drop them in the comments. I'm monitoring them, and we'll make sure we get those questions asked, or get them answered. And I appreciate y'all checking it out. So yeah, narrative strategist. Explain to the people what that does that mean, and how storytelling fits into all of that part.
Yeah.
You hit it on it a little bit when you were speaking on like the admin side, when having people up under your company, but we can speak on it a little bit more.
So what I mean when I say I'm a narrative strategist, it's a shorthand to my day job, honestly. I work for a philanthropy called Narrative Initiative, where we use narrative strategy to promote social justice. And so when you think about narrative strategy, and the specific program that I work with, we try to infuse narrative strategy into daily strategic communications. So if you think about anything that's going on in the world from the lens of an organizing background or a social justice organization, they are going to be trying to organize towards some greater good that they believe in. But before you can get, and that usually that greater good can't come about without a change in policy, legislative policy at the state or local level, or congressional policy at the federal level. But before you can change policy, you have to change the conversation around that policy. That is where the narrative strategy comes in. And narrative strategy, we say, is generational work. It can take a generation or more to change the conversation around a specific political point of view or legislative or congressional policy. And that is the work of a narrative strategist. So if we look at the environment that we are in today, we didn't get here overnight into the throes of authoritarianism and fascism. There was a generation of a machine working at every level of government, local, state, and federal, that to get us to this point where the person who is now the president of the United States can execute the plan of Project 2025 that was drafted 4 to 8 years ago and run roughshod over the entire Constitution and over every legislative check and branch of government that we have, because they have put in the works brick by brick to get here, right? And so for those who are now organizing against the machine of this administration, it's going to take a generation or more to even change the conversation around some of these policies before we can even see that political change. That is the work of a narrative strategist.
Wow. Okay. Very detailed, very good. Woo. That's a lot of work, ma'am, that you're doing over there. And on top of that, you're a podcaster. Do you edit all your stuff too and all that?
Yeah, I mean, I was a
Oof.
producer, so I produced my own show. It's a lot of work. I do a lot of work.
A lot of work. Yes. I mean, I'm sitting here. Yeah, I'm sitting here thinking about all the work that I have to do, like coming up with the content, making sure that the content is intentional and purposeful to my people that I'm serving. Yeah, like all of that. So I understand completely on that. So from a Black standpoint, when it comes to Black media, Black content, that's important to you, correct? I would say, right?
Yeah.
Very important. Let's talk about that. I mean, especially from a narrative strategist standpoint, like making sure that our story is being told correctly. And you coming from a journalist, producer standpoint, understanding like making sure that the facts are facts, making sure that it's not necessarily being first, but being correct. So let's talk about it a little. Well, share your thoughts on that a little bit in regards to the Black media, Black content, like how important that is to, in the circle that you're in and just in general.
I'll be even more broad. There needs to always be a space for people to tell their story, whether that's Black people, brown people, indigenous people, LGBTQIA plus people, whoever they are, there always needs to be a space for any person to tell their story. But what we see, especially across all industries, but especially in media, is that there is a preponderance of white people, the white gaze, and control. The media landscape is extremely consolidated, especially when you think about local media, local newspapers, and the quickness with which they have been acquiescing to this current administration is alarming. And so, in that vein, where there is a consolidation of media, there are a lot of publications, like the Atlanta Journal Constitution said it's going to be digital only starting November or next year sometime, right? So, as media companies are trying to navigate this new digital landscape, um, and so many of them are held by larger conglomerates and corporations, then there become less outlets for all of our stories to exist. There are less outlets for Black reporters to find jobs. There are less outlets for um, organizers who come from a strategically disenfranchised background to pitch an op-ed to. There become less opportunities for people who have racialized and ethnicized identities to tell their stories in an honest way or through a lens that does not meet the mainstream because of the consolidation of the market. Also, with the rise of AI, we're seeing not only is false information being put forward because the AI is having what they're calling hallucinations, but the people who are in the positions aren't even doing the fact check of the AI that they're asking for before they hit publish. So I'll think about earlier this year, there was a book review in the Chicago Sun-Times. It was a roundup of I guess 16 new books coming out in the summer. But it was written completely by AI, and the reporter over the beat did not fact check it to see that the AI had hallucinated books by real authors that did not exist and were not coming out, right? Because the AI is being fed on the works of authors and writers and journalists. The same thing just happened a few weeks ago. The brilliant scholar, Dr. Imani Perry, whose new book, Black and Blue, she's talking about it at an upcoming festival, and she's going to be in conversation with the historical fiction novelist Dolan Perkins Valdez. Whoever took the information from the press release and put it into Chat GPT and asked for, a summary, got a summary that was incorrect and didn't bother to fact check it. Right. So as we see the rise of AI, the consolidation of media, the collapse of journalism in many different ways, we see that there are less places for people to tell their stories and a greater need.
Beautiful, beautiful. So the advice that you would give to somebody that is trying to find these spaces, that want to have their voice being heard, what advice do you have for those people? Because I would think that some people would be hesitant about, I mean, a lot of people are hesitant about AI, especially when it comes to AI in regards to like our history and our information. And when I say our, I mean in Black information. But what advice do you have for people to, that, you know, emerging people that want to write or want to even get into this space? Like, what would you advise them to do?
Nothing worth doing is easy. So if it sounds hard, that's because it is. And if it's something that you really want to do, you should do it anyway. For those who want
Pause.
to,
I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt you. That was. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I just wanted to sit on that line that you stated. That was perfect. Like I'd be thinking like, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry to interrupt, but I'm thinking like
you're good.
a lot of people just be like, oh, it's so hard to do. And it's like, I understand that. But I'm like, we got to preserve our work. We got to preserve our history. We got to tell these stories. And you're right. Nothing comes easy. You know what I'm saying? So I don't, that's a whole nother topic.
Like,
Go ahead.
no, but real, like for real, nothing worth doing is easy. And if it's something that you truly want to do, you should do it anyway. So like if you want to enter traditional media and you want to be a reporter or a producer or a print journalist or even on the radio or a podcaster, then do the work to do that and realize that you're not going to have ad deals all the way, that you might have to be a one-man band, that you may be on a trash shift where you're working, 2 p.m. to midnight, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and you're only an associate producer. So you're just helping, like whatever the case may be. But if it's something that you truly love and it's something that you truly want to do, then you'll find a way to do it. And eventually you will move up and money will come. We all know the industry as a journalist, the money is not always there. It's not always right. And life is expensive. I get that. I've lived that. I've been there. But everybody can't be an entrepreneur in the media space. Just because you have a microphone does not mean that you have a purpose or a platform for which to speak. You have to be intentional about what it is that you want to do with your work and with your life. What kind of stories do you want to tell? Is traditional media the way for you? Is there another vehicle or another avenue for you to do that? Do you need to be in a classroom teaching future journalists about how to navigate the new media landscape? All of these avenues are open and possible. Or do you have a passion for organizing and you want to take what you have learned as a journalist and put it into practice as, the communications director for some nonprofit, for some 501c3. There are many different ways to tell stories. There are many different ways to find purpose. And just because you start in one job does not mean that you cannot transition out. I worked for 11 years as a television news producer at 4 different TV stations and 3 different markets. And when I left television, I freelanced as a print journalist for 3 years, writing for different publications and verticals online, which is how I did my last book, which was a nonfiction book called Mardi Gras Indians. It was from my public writing. And in that time, I started a podcast, but that podcast is very specific and focused. It's called Black and Published. I talk to Black authors mostly about their books and their writing and their publishing process. I'm very much in my lane and in my niche. And when I do my work as a narrative strategist, the way I got my job was because of all of my experience as a producer, as a podcaster, as an author, as a journalist. You can take this career and do anything you want with it as long as you enjoy it. And again, it may not always be easy, but if it's something that you want to do it anyway.
All right. Beautiful words, beautiful words, beautiful words. I want to add in there too. I inform my students about fact checking. I'm like, fact checking, citing your references. Like make sure that information is correct, please, because we just don't want to just be saying stuff and nothing gets supported or whatnot. So there is an avenue as well to be doing fact checking. If you're a good person that like to do researching and stuff, like there's a lane for that to make sure that the information that is being displayed and represent a good representation of Black folks that reflects you, your community, your parents, your ancestors, all that. Like there's a lane for that too. That's a need that people need to have, especially in podcasting. But that's a whole nother other story because you got these podcasters with these microphones that don't be fact checking at all. But again, another story. All right, so a couple more questions, 2 or 3 more questions, and then we get into it. Again, I appreciate you, Ms. Williams, for being here. In regards to legacy, so how do you see your work contributing to the legacy of Black media in Jacksonville or beyond?
Ooh. I think my legacy is mostly as a storyteller, so that I'm not confined to just what I did in TV or what I do in books or what I do on my podcast or whatever. But if I look at it that way, I hope my legacy will be in conversation with Zora Neale Hurston. I hope my legacy will be in conversation with Toni Morrison. I hope my legacy will be in conversation with Sister Souljah and Eric Jerome Dickey, right? I want people to understand that a Black girl from the South Side of Chicago who grew up in the hood, but was bookish and smart and intelligent and also had hood tendencies, can write and tell stories of her people and the people that she loves and the community that she has inhabited and bring pride to all of those different walks of life who come into these literary worlds and folds that I am producing.
Some heavy names you put yourself against, which that's right. I've been trying, listen, real quick, I've been trying not to do this thing. What is this, the clocking thing that the ladies be doing?
Yeah.
For the males.
One there's applause. One there is applause, and one is like, oh, we clocked it.
Oh, wow. Okay, thank you all right, so you said.
One is applause, and then one is like, we clocked it. I don't know which finger is which, I don't remember.
All right, well, I'm gonna stay away from it, but you this whole interview, you've been doing applause, all that. No, I just think that's a good gesture, man. I think that's a quick, like, all right, I hear you, da, da, da. But no, that's some great people that you put yourself by. Definitely would, I would support that for sure. So, last serious question: press and prosperity. What does that mean to you? Personally, professionally, what does that mean to you? When you hear it, what does that mean to you?
I think at this point, it's my way of life. I am trying to live a prosperous life. I am trying to have prosperity in my life. And because of what I do, that means that I am either a part of the press or in front of the press. Mm. Mm.
Oh man, listen, thank you so much for these answers. Greatly appreciate it. All right, 2 things: music and fashion. We had our conversation. First off, I appreciate you supporting my event, the DeGroot Suite. You came a couple times, but I greatly appreciate you supporting it, and I truly hope you left, you know what I'm saying, inspired or just, you know, feeling free from the night or whatever the case may be, because that's like one of my main missions and goals for my community when it comes to music. Like, people to come in, receive the music, let's have a good time, and then send them off to be great in the world. So thank you for being there. So music, your taste. We haven't truly talked about it, and I guess we can talk about it later. But your taste, I can sense that your taste of music is one of a kind. So please let me know your favorite. Go ahead.
My favorite what?
Well, go ahead. You was about to say something. Go ahead.
No, just in general, like, I grew up, before I like locked in to be a writer, I really wanted to like be a professional dancer, like jazz, modern, tap, all that type of thing. I grew up in Chicago, so like, you know, we're the home of deep house. Mm-hmm. My parents had albums all everywhere. My father played the piano. I learned how to play the piano for a bit, but I didn't maintain it. Um, and that might be something I want to pick up again. I do have a piano in my home. So, but I mean, I love music and I love dancing. So like that's the easiest answer. And then as far as like the breadth of like my musical taste, I think it comes from, doing classical ballet, learning to tap dance to jazz. So like Al Jarreau's Blue Rondo a la Turk is something that I really enjoy, right? These different references. And then I also love if I hear a note or something that reminds me of a song, like chasing that chord down. I love like chasing after samples to find the originals. And so like I love music.
Listen, Al Jarreau samples. You saying all the things that sticks out to me, and even with the dancing part. So when we talk about fashion, so your style of fashion is, and it's all making sense, being the fact that you stated you wanted to be like a professional dancer, like which we think about the culture of music, the fashion aspect to it, all of that ties in perfectly. So I'm assuming that the music aspect and the culture, of course, inspires your fashion.
It's all connected. When I think about fashion, like you can use fashion as a lot of sometimes people use fashion as a political statement, depending on what kind of designers they're wearing. Like if you think about Michelle
For
Obama,
sure.
she styled herself after Jackie Kennedy, but she did it using a lot of black designers, right? To give you classic American, but in black. When I think about fashion, it's not that deep. I think about it just because I know that I'm coming to show up to do a job and I need to look a certain way. So then how is it that I want to look? How do I want to present myself? I like bright colors. I really do. I like a heel. I like a good makeup beat. I mean, I'm a girl's girl. I like all these things. But as in my capacity, generally as an author, how I'm presenting myself is something that I think about. One, because the spaces that I have been able to inhabit, especially over the course of my pre-publication tour, there were not a lot of black authors there. Sometimes at one event, I was the only black person in the room. I was the only black author, and then I was sitting in a room of booksellers, and there were no black bookstore owners in the room. So not only are you going to remember me just because of my skin color, I also want you to remember me because I walked in looking a certain way. And when I told you about my book, it stuck with you. It's all part of the package. And so when I think about clothing and fashion and what I'm presenting, I want it to be as memorable as a story that I have written.
I love it. I love it. Listen, y'all go to her Instagram. She be fly around these streets, boy. Definitely fly. I love the style too. So yeah, I just want to compliment you on the fashion, definitely the music, and of course overall everything that you got going on. So I appreciate that. Oh, last question. I'm so sorry. Last question. We didn't talk about the book bash event. Wanted to get your verbal opinion. I mean, I saw it via threads, but I thought it was interesting. When I saw it, I was just like, oh, okay. And I do have reserved thoughts about uh, the sponsorship or whatever. And I don't want to speak too much on it because I just don't know all the information. And, I want to be respectful of the festival more so than the advertiser, if that makes sense. So I wanted to get your
Yeah.
opinion on that for sure.
Um, I was not involved in the planning of Black Book Bash. I was a
Okay.
participant. So I'll
Gotcha.
start there. Yes, there was the controversy of the title sponsor, Publix, pulling out of the Black Book Bash. What exactly happened and who is to blame is can be debated till the sun comes up. The story that the organizer told was that they were in conversation with people from Publix and they pulled out because of the environment. And then Publix says they were never going to sponsor. Somebody's lying. And I personally don't think it's the organizer, but somebody is not being completely truthful about what happened. Beyond that kerfluffle, so to speak, 150 authors, Black authors, traditionally published and indie published, came to Jacksonville, Florida for 3 days of celebration of Black literature. 80 influencers on BookTok, so the bookish side of TikTok, and the Bookstagram side, came to Jacksonville, Florida to amplify the voices and stories of Black writers, period. It was billed as the literary family reunion. It was. The organizer has the goal of making Black Book Bash comparable to that of the National Book Festival in Washington, D.C. This was the inaugural year. So, because it was the inaugural year, there was a lot of learning curves to only make it better. And that should not be held against the organizer, including with whatever happened with the title sponsorship. At the end of the day, Black people showed up. It was a great event. There were audiences in every room over the course of 3 days for every author who was on a panel, right? And so the event was successful. I don't think that you can ask for anything better. And as we've had the conversation about, media consolidation and the lack of spaces to tell our stories, Black Book Bash was one place where we were absolutely able to tell all of our stories.
Love it, love it, and shout out to the organizers for the festival, and definitely for that weekend to be a success. I mean, it was just good to see. Well, I saw it from various people that went that I follow, so it looked like it was definitely a great. It was a great time, as well as very purposeful. So, yeah, I just want to get your points on that. I do have thoughts on, I guess, the admin side of it. Admin meaning like the sponsor action, not at all about the festival, because I am very adamant about supporting Black festivals and conferences and stuff like that, because we need these spaces to exist in. So, and I like the family reunion action to it, because it do be family reunion, because you follow these people day in, day out.
And so when you finally get to see them in real life, you're automatically hugging somebody, even though you've never met them at a day in your life.
Right.
It was definitely that.
Absolutely. And I feel like that type of community, those attributes for community, is very, very important in this climate that we have. So I've met plenty of people across the country, and I follow them day in, day out, and we get together one time a year. We dapping each other up like that's my brother, like we grew up together. So that definitely strengthens the community, whatever community is being served at that moment. So, indeed. All right. Well, we are done. Thank you so much, Miss Williams. I appreciate you so
You're
much.
very welcome.
It is an honor, a magnificent honor. Again, Again, I appreciate your work. I've been following you. Definitely love your work, your style of music, and your style of clothing. I definitely love that as well. It's very honorable and appreciative, man. So taking pride in showing up as a person that you want to be, especially in the climates that you're in. I think that is very, very important, and you do it so well. And you're so intelligent too, man. You're so, oh my God, like the intelligence. I love it. I love it. I love it. Yes, I'm gushing everybody. So let the people know where they can find you at. Order the book, go to the website, Instagrams and such.
I am at Nikesha Elise everywhere: Facebook, Instagram, Threads. I have a TikTok, but I'm not on TikTok, so don't follow me there. I only have a TikTok to watch TikTok videos that people send me. But yeah, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, at Nikesha Elise. The book is The 7 Daughters of Dupree. It's available for pre-order now everywhere you get your books. If you're in Jacksonville, you can go by San Marco Books and More, Chambliss Uptown, Happy Medium Cafe, Cafe Resistance. Shout out to a state rep, Angie Nixon. Mm-hmm. Go over there and order the novel, and it'll be out in January.
Indeed, indeed. Please make sure y'all go grab that book. Please make sure you're following Nikesha everywhere you at. Please follow her, grab her book, grab her book. All right. Thank y'all so much for this beautiful event or this beautiful webinar that we've had, this interview. Please make sure you share it. Please make sure that you go to NABJ Northeast Florida and follow it. We got some things coming up. We got to close out for the year. So we're working on doing a social and, just really trying to get more of the communication media, the Black communication media people in one spot, just so we can have community on there and kind of support each other, whether it's traditional, independent, whatever the case may be. So I really want to get my people together, and that's one of my goals for being president and just being an advocate for the NABJ space. So just make sure you follow those joints, sign up for the newsletter, and all that stuff. So with all that being said, Ms. Williams, don't go nowhere real quick. I'm going to close out. But y'all be good to yourselves, be good to others, follow everything. All right. Y'all be great to the top.
Hey, it's Christina Curates, and you're tuned in to the Neighborhood Feast hosted by the NPN Network.
Hey creators, if you've been looking for a sign to refocus, realign, and elevate your craft, this is it. The Drippin' in Black Elevation Lab is back with another powerful session hosted by the UMA Creative Group. And this time, it's all about principles and values. Happening Saturday, December 6th at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, this virtual webinar is designed for podcasters, content creators, and media pros who want to grow their platforms with purpose. You'll learn how to anchor your creativity and your core values to make better business decisions, tell more authentic stories, and build genuine trust with your audience. It's more than strategy, it's alignment. So if you're ready to move from inspiration to execution, tap in now and register at dibkproductions.com/elevation. That's dibkproductions.com/elevation. Don't miss your chance to elevate with intention.
What if the story we tell about mental health is all wrong? I'm Dominic Lawson, and this is Mental Health Rewritten, a narrative podcast where small behaviors reveal bigger truths. We blend raw storytelling with clinical insight to explore the systems, silence, and stigma behind our struggles. Listen now on Apple Podcast, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Yeah.